No, my name's Keith. I'm nobody. I'm a former truck driver, former radio dude. I'm not a doctor. Nothing you will see on this live is to be taken as medical advice or therapeutic advice from a licensed professional because I am not licensed in anything that's good. So please don't take it that way. But at the same time, I think everybody can probably take stuff out of this. I think everybody that's in this room that hears Dixie's story will hear things that they can relate to. And that's why we do it. Plus, it gives Dixie or whoever else joins me on these Thursday nights an opportunity to just get everything out, to share their story. And the fact that there's 40 some odd people here right now, you guys are reaffirming to Dixie that they're being seen and they're being heard. And as invisible folks, that is an invaluable thing, right? So, hey, Kimberly. So, Dixie, let's just give a quick bio about you. You're in South Carolina, is that right?
That's right. Born and raised.
Born and raised in South Carolina. Home of the Gamecocks, right?
And and the Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers too, but yeah. I know Gamecocks because of the coach who left Florida and went to South Carolina. So, but you have had an incredible story. Something like 4 surgeries before third grade. 3. We'll get into the great lengths your mom had to go to, I think, if you wanted to go there. If you want to go there, we can share about how at times this could be a dark space that we're in when things aren't being treated, right? And then on top of that, you got ran over in a car by a semi, and it wasn't just you. I mean, your husband got hurt. I mean, everybody got hurt. So it wasn't just doctors in the world that you're invisible to. Sure enough, you were invisible to an insurance company.
Yeah.
So it's like I tell everybody that contacts me or follows me, y'all are my heroes, because as you guys hear some of Dixie's story, I don't know if I could have survived it, to be honest with you. I really don't. And so I'll let you get started. I'll ask the first question and then you can go. Okay? Your first surgery was when you were 8 weeks old? Is that right? Tell us about that.
Well, apparently I was born with 3 kidneys and my tubes were not long enough to reach my bladder. And I was told I was having a lot of high fevers and UTIs. The doctors wanted to do surgery. They told my mom that would fix me. Well, it didn't fix me. So they waited a little while and they did another surgery before I turned a year old. My fevers kept running way high, like 105, 106. I was turning blue and almost died in a doctor's office.
105?
Yeah.
Fever of 105. Gee, Christmas. All right, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, that's fine. It did end up causing a little bit of brain damage. It showed up in school. They demanded to do a 3rd surgery. Mama said, no, you're going to kill her. Oops. Sorry. Unalive. Sorry. They threatened the law. And I guess it was called Child Protective Services back then. That was back in 74, 75. Mama ran to another specialist in Greenville, South Carolina. And they said no more surgeries. So right there, I remember this surgery now, is right where I was going in 3rd grade. And I remember I could not control my bladder at all. That doctor went in and he actually fixed my bladder. I couldn't start 3rd grade because of that surgery. I remember being orange for a very long time because apparently that's what they was giving me, something like Peridium, to help with pain at that young age. So the teacher was having to just let me get up and go whenever I needed to. But I was blessed to be able to get up and walk out of class to do that when other kids couldn't. But that caused quite a problem. The name callings, being bullied, especially living in a small town. That also, even though it corrected a problem, of course, kids can be cruel, and it still followed me up to high school, sadly.
Right.
Well, even though that fixed the problem, everything seemed pretty good, just common, UTIs every once in a while, no big deal, until I got old enough to get married, started having children. Started having UTIs again. Started getting hospitalized. I miscarried our first baby. I was told I couldn't have children. With our first child, I stayed in the hospital with him more than anything. They actually took our first son 2 weeks early because I had pyelonephritis in my kidneys. And they still didn't get it all out after they even took him. After when he was 2 weeks old, I was hospitalized again. Nobody told me back then because we did not have computers and stuff back in '92 that birth control and antibiotics didn't work together. So when he was about 6.5 months old, I got pregnant with my daughter. So I ended up back in a hospital again. High risk. Courtney was an 8.5-month baby because Mama stayed so sick. But she was born 6 pounds 11 ounces, luckily.
She was born 8.5 months. Out of the 8.5 months, were you like in and out of the hospital? Did they keep you for like more than a couple of days or
weeks at a time because my water tried to break around 6.5 months. So they actually put me in the hospital, and I stayed for that time for almost a month at a time. So she actually tried to come early, and they didn't release me until they did several tests and I had to stay on bed rest. And after they thought I wasn't going to be a threat any longer, they let me come home, and I still went in labor at around 8.5 months, but it wasn't that bad. She was still 6 pounds 11 ounces, but they had gave me some kind of medication to strengthen her lungs just in case. So she was still, pretty good. I mean, Brandon was 8 pounds 3 ounces. And they took him 2 weeks early, so that wasn't too bad. And then she was 6 pounds 11 ounces, but I stayed more sick with her. I really did. And then I had Alex 5 years later. I had a pretty good healthy pregnancy with him. I was only in the hospital twice, but I had my tubes tied after him. When he was about 3 years old, I was working and doing very well at Charles Lee Center. I was going for my nurse's degree. Well, I didn't ever get that. Kept staying sick with what I thought was UTIs. Going back and forth to the doctor. The pain felt just like UTIs. Some of them was positive, some of them was negative. My family doctor said, "Rhonda, it's time for you to go back to a urologist." So there I go. He expected interstitial size the very first visit. And boy, he did the test there, the first visit. I was there at the office for like an hour and a half. And you talking about crying. He did a potassium test, and he did in-office cystoscopy. I can't hardly say it.
That's all right. I can't pronounce half the things that they tell me that I've had either. So, because they're all like this long with like 92 consonants in it, and I can't pronounce them. I give up.
I can spell it. I can't say it. But I was sensitive to the potassium, and then he did that in office, and he said, "Okay, it's time to go to the surgery room. Let me have a better look." So we went to the surgery room. Well, the first time he looked, it was just a moderate case of IC. And he put me on a bunch of medications, Amaron and stuff, and I was not getting no better. As a matter of fact, I was getting worse. And I was having positive UTIs. Not most people with IC feel like they have a UTI, but they don't. Really, the cultures are coming back negative. Mine were coming back positive. He thought I just wanted pain medication. Only time I had pain medication as an adult was when I had my children, and that was it. I didn't want pain medication. I just wanted fixed. So he was pretty much gaslighting me. I went through the emergency room because I was so sick. Had another high fever. Had pyelonephritis in my kidneys. Got admitted. Sadly, during all of this, another girl, she with IC, she took her own life. So that began to open his eyes a little bit more. So he said, let's take another look at your bladder. I need to go back a little bit. I was hurting so bad on my right side, I had already had my appendix taken out, and it wasn't my appendix. I need to backtrack on that a little bit, because I had my appendix taken out too, and it wasn't my appendix. But he went back in, he looked, and I had 100 lesions on my bladder. And that's why I was hurting so bad on my right side. They were on the dome of my bladder. And that's when he apologized to me. He told me he would never doubt me again.
But I know you realize this, and the people that are in this room realize it. To have a doctor apologize, even though it doesn't make up for the misdiagnosis and it doesn't make up for any of the physical or mental suffering that we've gone through, that's so rare. And again, I'm not trashing every doctor on the planet. Sorry, I get a little feedback. Is that any better, or is it still there? I'm not trashing every doctor on the planet, but at the same time, very few ever apologize. Ever. And again, I don't want to trash all doctors. I don't want to belittle what happened to you, because I'm not. I hope you know that. I'm just, the fact that a doctor apologized is kind of shocking.
He's the only one who has ever done that. He is.
Yeah.
And he told me he would never, doubt me again. And basically, well, he never did doubt me again. He always listened. But he did let me down again in 2016. Because he did have me on the fentanyl patches. And he did have me on the 30 milligram oxycodone. And as me and you was talking about, that this went over years at a time. This wouldn't immediately, I don't want nobody to think that. This is years, over years of time. Because you got to realize, I was in my 20s. I'm now 49 years old. That was 2016. So, when he let me down. So basically, I had been on that by that time. I had already been on that medication for 10 years. And it had built up to that because I was bedridden for almost a year and a half before we did anything. And
Right.
only thing I wanted was to be able to function, be able to get out, do things with my children. They were still young. They were going to school. And I had one at home. I couldn't Alex was little, I just wanted to be able to get up, be with them, help them do their homework, be able to clean the house, be able to cook dinner, just be a wife.
Oh, I know, and that's what people who aren't visible they don't get, yeah, right, y'all. Is it's not like we're asking to get enough meds to go climb Mount Everest. For some of us, it's asking for enough meds to do a load of laundry, or to do, hey, thanks, Shannon, or to do dishes, or to cook a meal,
Yeah.
to stand in front of the stove to cook a meal, right? And yeah, like Sister Taylor, you're right. It's just take care of yourself and get a shower. I showers for me, and I have to. I'm going to say, I want to say embarrassing, but I don't think I'm alone here. There are times I have to force myself to go take a shower.
Oh, yeah, that's the way it is now, sometimes for me.
It's not because I enjoy being dirty or anything. It's just
Right.
it's the physical effort of going and taking a shower. And it's so it's not like I'm looking to go climb Mount Everest with the pain meds. And sorry,
They're
but
leaving.
that puppy is so cute. Anyway, I'm off. Sometimes there are no spoons when I'm done showering. They're not. After I get out of the shower, I just want to go sit. Oh my gosh, I am in love. Don't let Valerie see your puppy, or she may be driving to South Carolina and taking it.
Valerie.
Yeah, no, our next one's a Chihuahua. So while we're talking puppies, anybody have a question so far for Dixie on any of the type of diagnoses? Or Jessica, we're not here to make you cry. We're here to let you know you're not alone that deals with this. That's why we have these lives, is for us to be able to come to a place and hear somebody share their story. And so, because we live it, it doesn't matter the diagnosis, right? I know people get tired of hearing me say that, but I still haven't convinced everybody yet. So I'm going to still keep saying it. It doesn't matter the diagnosis, because like we all just looking through the comments, I said I have to force myself to shower. Look at everybody else that agreed. And none of us have the same diagnosis. None of us. This is the safest place on TikTok for everybody, because we can admit that kind of stuff, right?
Sometimes it takes me a couple of days because my pain gets so bad. I mean, when I get in a bladder flare up, it don't. I can eat something wrong. Sometimes I'm okay with things I eat, and if I'm not in a flare up, and I can just eat whatever I want. But I can eat one wrong thing, and bam, I can go into a flare up.
Yeah.
It's not always about foods. I do know I can't eat spicy foods anymore. I can't drink alcohol. It would send me to the emergency room. That's just a bad no-no.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm in a flare-up, you can forget it. It might take me a day or two to get to the shower.
Yeah.
And I'll just have to tell my husband, please just go get me a wash rag. Just, let me just wash off. And
yeah. So Dixie, you got a question here. I'm not sure if you see it. What helped you most during your difficult times? And we're going to finish your story because we ain't done yet. But we'll go ahead and take a question here. All right.
For my bladder, I would say heating pads, ice packs, weighted blanket even helps me. Breathing techniques, honestly. yoga stretches, but I can only do certain ones now because of the accident that I was in. Because I'm messed up on my right side from the accident, so I can't do all the stretches that I should. But really, the breathing techniques and the yoga, it really does help a lot. And honestly, pain medication, I know not everybody's that lucky.
Yeah.
Dr. Kerfoot did eventually go back to helping me with pain medicine because, sorry, well, he's retired now. It doesn't matter. He's retired. But he did. He for 20 years. I mean, that man saved me mentally and physically in so many different ways. And I really hate now that he's retired. But
Because we're going to kind of jump forward a little bit, and then you can go back and head back to it. Okay?
yeah,
Is that all right?
that's fine.
So if I remember when we were talking on the phone, was it the doctor that was retiring that caused you to be pretty much cold turkey cut off your meds? Is that right?
Yes, in 2016. But I mean, the DEA was coming in there, waving things at him that I can't see on here. PPUs. I think that's the way they do it. And scaring the crap out of him. And that was before they, DEA decided to make things laws that they shouldn't have control over this fake epidemic. And because we all know we have a problem here.
But it's easier to deal with us. Thank you, Paige. It's easier to deal with us than it is to stop it on the streets. So,
yeah, of course. Take it out on the ones who's jumping through hoops. Yeah, I know.
yeah. So were you, when they cut you off, what were you on? Were you still on the patches and everything, or had they taken you off of those already?
The 100 milligrams fentanyl patches and the Roxycodone 30s. I was cut completely off, no winging, no warning whatsoever for 3 months. I weighed 100. I'm almost 5'10", and I weighed 160 pounds. And I dropped down to 130 pounds. I looked like a walking skull. I was so weak. My husband literally had to pick me up out of our bathtub. And he's got a bad back. But he had to pick me up out of the bathtub. And he even heard Dr. Kerfoot tell a nurse, she's not going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did. And I didn't hit no streaks either. And another pain management doctor told me, you need to go admit yourself to the hospital. Your body can go in shocks and seizures and you can die. Oop.
Yeah. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Only terms I don't like people to use are the PP term, or what PP represents, and specific brand names of medication. That's so.
I'm not
but,
used to doing lives.
You're fine. Nobody is. I'm not either. But the medical history that you've been through with the surgeries, and then with having the issues with when you're having your littles, and then you have all the medication, and that is a lot of medication for somebody of your size. Okay. And I'm not a doctor, right? And trust me, I understand everybody processes this stuff a lot different, right? But it's still a pretty fair amount. I think you'd agree, right?
Yeah.
And to go from that to nothing, not only is it physical pain and withdrawals, but mentally it's got to be as well.
Actually,
you can't control it. You can't control what's happening, and nothing you did anything to put you there, right?
Right.
you know? And for me, I've been in dark places before, and I want to tread very, very lightly because I know TikTok and the AI will flip if we go too deep. That would scare me if a doctor had done that to me.
My husband was scared for me. My family was scared for me.
And I guess what I want to say without getting canceled by TikTok is if you had a dark spot like that, it's okay. Nothing that you did got you there. And I want to say, look at yourself today. Today may suck. You may have a shit doctor. Your ER may not help you when you get there. But God bless. Thank you. Thank you for you, especially the Dixie, because I know your story. Thank you for being strong enough to make it through that, because I don't know. I'm not bullshitting. I don't know. If I could have had the wherewithal to do it, you know. And I know you're not the only one that's been in that dark spot, right? Because I admit it. I admit it. So nothing to be ashamed about. You're a human being. And look at you today, right? You're a freaking rock star. You're my hero, right?
I mean, I've helped run, many bigger groups over there on the book and
Look faces.
the book of faces. I did not like how they were mistreating other people. About a year and a half ago, I started my own group. There's, 580 something people there. I will say I'm a little strict about who I allow in because I don't want the drama and I don't want the BOTs,
Right.
But the people who's in there, they get the support, they get the love. They need me. They hit my inbox. The other people that I have on my team are awesome, and I couldn't do it without their support either.
Right.
But they have educated themselves, and I've helped over on the ICN. That's where I started at. That's somebody cared enough. Graceland from Dr. Kerfoot's office to send me a book when I was so alone and scared. And at the end of that book, I found that web page. And that's when we still had dial up, AOL, everybody remembers that.
Yeah.
You had to wait so long for that dial up.
Yeah. And that's if it worked.
Oh, yeah. But I even did Yahoo, ran a little support group on there, and it had a local support group. So, and I got books. I mean, if I don't know something about IC, updated ones, I'll sit there and I'll pull it out. I will sit here and help somebody. I'll help them find their subtype. I will do whatever I can to help them find it. And because that's what you got to do. You got to find the root cause. But the bad thing about it, Hunter lesions that's your mast cell activation. That's your autoimmune disease. You can't fix autoimmune.
And one thing, and I know we're jumping around, and I told you when we talked that I was going to keep trying to prevent it, but we're jumping aroround all over the place tonight, so we're just going to roll with it.
That's me.
That's fine. No, it's good. That's what I love about it. Everybody knows that. Everybody that's here, 40 some odd people here know that there is no format, that it's just me and it's the person I'm with, and it's a conversation, and it's just a safe space, right? But we haven't even talked about Thank you. Whoever got us the goal. We haven't mentioned yet that you're having surgery next week, right?
Yep, on the 30th.
Again.
Yeah, well, see, I've had so many hydros extensions. Honestly, I've lost count. I really do not. Honestly, I've had them for so long. Had them for so long. There at one time, the hunter lesions were so bad, we were having to go in every 3 to 4 months to get them off because they were so painful. I couldn't walk. There was on the dome of my bladder, and I could barely walk. They were coming back just about as fast as he could remove them.
That's
and
crazy.
now I got so much scar tissue on my bladder, it's hardened, and that's terrible because I mean it's hard to go pee now because of it, and they can't actually figure out how much my bladder holds. We know it's small. They think about roughly 350 cc's. That's when it's stretched, and we do it to give me room, and hopefully it will break the right nerves, but it don't always during the hydro extension. But if we're lucky enough to break the right nerves,
Right.
I can get some pain relief. But the first 48 to 72 hours, now this is just that is no extra work's done, like she don't find no suspicious places, no hunter lesions. This is just going in, stretching my bladder, breaking some nerves. If that's all she does, then 48 to 72 hours, that's pure heck to recover. But after that, then I'm normally okay.
Right. How many surgeries? If you had to think, how many surgeries do you think you've had?
I have no.
Ballpark.
Let's see, 20 years. 20 years. I know we've had at least 2 a year, at least. That right there alone is probably roughly, I don't know, I'm going to say roughly about 75 or 80. Or 75 to 100. 75 to 100 of those. That,
I'm going to lay down under.
all right, hon. No, Ed, you got to go in with mommy.
Come on, baby.
My daughter and grandchildren, husband coming in.
That's all right. Miss Whiplash, you've had over 50 as well.
The little puppy coming
That's
in.
that's crazy. I complain about what I've got going on, and that's 50. Some I think Scissor Tail said 21. You're at 75 to 100. Y'all ain't got no problems at all in my life.
That's just minor surgery. I mean, at least it's outpatient. I mean, at least. And the most scariest, the scariest part is going in, not knowing who my anesthesiologist is, because he's the one, or she is going to be the one who's controlling my pain afterward.
Right.
Now, if I get a good one, they're going to get the pain controlled for me. And they understand that I am a chronic pain patient, and they'll get it controlled for me. That way, if they get controlled, I'm not coming home chasing pain. I can stay on top of it.
Right.
But if I get a bad one, they're not going to get it controlled, and I can end it right back in the ER. I mean, I can't complain about the ER because the ER, when I rarely go, but when I do go, they do respect me, and because they see my records, and that's where I have my surgeries at. And basically, I have had them just say, how do I need to treat you? Because I'm using these big words at them, and I don't, of course, I'm not going to tell them. I say, well, will you please just look at the the last way you treated me before the doctor's plan, because I never want to tell them how to treat you. I know better than that, But I've
Yeah.
had him tell me I know more than they do.
Yeah, I love it when doctors say that. Well, I like doctors when they tell me that they know my pain better than I do. And I've been seeing karma, the energy force in the world, whatever you want to call it, has been throwing the Robin Williams quote in front of my face like 100 times a day. It said something that, I'm going to paraphrase it. We tend to forget that patients know their illnesses better than anyone, or know their illnesses and themselves better than anyone. And like the pain quack I just fired, Dr. Pena, Israel Pena, Granbury, Texas. I would not recommend him to my ex-wife. He is that bad. Personal opinion. That's his philosophy, is he knows everything. And again, I don't want to get on my soapbox about doctors not liking educated patients, and doctors always knowing what's right for us. Because that's not this is your story time tonight, not mine. But it's anyway. So you've had 100 surgeries. You got another one coming up.
Probably will continue for the rest of my life.
And one thing we also haven't talked about is that the very first surgeries you had, we talked about on the phone the other day, that doctors later in life told you that possibly caused you to have surgery. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. That's the bubbly water I drink. That they screwed you up. That had they not let your body do its thing, it probably would have corrected itself, right? When they extended the tubes, right, that go down to the bladder, or your body could have corrected it, but they fixed it, right? And that may have caused issues later in life. Or did I drink my conversation?
I have had doctors to tell me that if they had left me alone, because basically interstitial cystitis is some type of damage done to the bladder in a lot of cases. Not all, like the autoimmune part,
Right.
but there's different subtypes. And I identify more than one subtype, of course. So it could be childbirth for some people. It could be a car accident for some people. It could be you fall off a bike and you hurt your tailbone for some people. There's so many different causes. And
Right.
so if it was some type of damage done to my bladder, and obviously, they cut into my bladder. It looks like I had people to ask me, did I have a C-section? No, I had my children naturally, but it looks like I've had a C-section. That's where they cut me from my bladder surgeries. Only thing different is where I got 3 little lines in different places, about like that, in different places where some type of tubes went. I'm not sure. I was young. I don't remember what it was, but looks like a C-section scar, and then little bitty tiny scars above that line and I was told that was where some kind of tube went.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump forward a little bit. You found out what happens when a semi, even at city street speed, not highway speeds, but just around town speeds, what happens when a semi runs into a car? Right? You found out the hard way. You found out the hard way.
Yeah. And we wasn't even up to 35 yet.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, we was going down the road. The front of just about the whole hood was just about in front of him. He went to merge over without looking. I don't know what was on the bumper. I have no idea. But whatever it was, because it hit me right there at my steering wheel. But when he merged over, something on his bumper hooked into my driver's door. And because I wasn't really paying him no attention, I was just minding my own business. My husband was in the car with me, and my aunt was right behind me. And next thing I know, feel wham! And, well, I'm the driver. Of course, what am I going to do? I'm trying to get back control of my car. I'm trying to stay in my lane. But as soon as he hit me, I lost control because he had control of me. There was no getting back control. I fought the steering wheel like crazy.
Oh, I can imagine.
Actually, I thought I'd broke my wrist. That's what I had x-rayed. But, no, it was my neck, shoulder, hip. I'll get in that in a minute. Anyway, when he jerked back into his lane because we were connected, he pulled my car over with him. And he pushed us like 100 to 150 yards. By the time it came to a stop, my little Volkswagen Jetta was up on 2 wheels. I was in such shock. I didn't even know we was up on 2 wheels. Of course, we were sitting, this way when we should have been, that way. Ooh. But I remember being in complete shock. My husband was able to get out of the car. I remember that. And next thing I remember was hearing somebody say, "Back off of her where we can get her out of the car." I remember hearing that. And when he backed off, I felt the car hit the ground. And that's when I knew I was up on 2 wheels. Because in my mind, I was in shock. I did not know that. We was up in that hill. If ever I seen God's hand work, I seen it that day because that car did not flip.
Yeah, I used to have a Volkswagen like that. And those cars don't weigh nothing. There ain't nothing to them.
Yes, it's 2016 Volkswagen Jetta. I love that little car.
They're like little go-karts, because one I had was just like a go-kart because it sat so low. I mean, it was factory, just sat low to the ground, and I'm 6 foot tall, so I felt like I was having to crawl in. There ain't nothing to them. They're so light, and then again, I've got nearly 1 million miles driving a big truck all across this country, and I've seen what the damage those things can do to people, and what a scary. So you're dealing with the bladder issues and all this stuff, and you've had these doctors who cut you off of meds and graciously finally admitted they were wrong, and apologized. But now you got what, hip issues, right? At least from the car accident, right?
When it hit, now honestly, I thought I was just sore from the accident. Really, I did. But because we got hit on the left side, but my neck, my arm, and I still have issues. But I got most of my range back because I used to couldn't even do this, and but it still gets stiff and stuff. But I got most of my range back now, thank God. But and my hip, oh goodness, and my L4, L5, I got a bulge in it now. In 2020, when I started going to my pain management, even though he knew he was taking me on as an IC patient, because it was pain management, he automatically did an x-ray of my back. Right. Everything was perfectly fine. Even arthritis did not show up. Now, which I know everybody has arthritis. And as you get older. Now he did after the accident, he did x-rays again in August. I'd say it was probably like 2-3 days after the wreck, because the wreck happened August 19th of 21. because he got me in as quick as he could. I had to go to, another city to see him, but it didn't matter. I was glad he, already had him. Because at this point, you don't need a PCP. You need a specialist. You know that. There's no sense of even going to your family doctor. You need your specialist at this point. I'm glad I had him. He did the X-rays. Well, arthritis showed up, but luckily nothing was broken and stuff. It was, I kept complaining. He finally did the MRI, and that's when he seen the disc. Hip, the MRI looks perfectly clear. But I got some bone spurs on it. I didn't know I had, but they said I could have went my whole life without knowing I had arthritis. But it was that big hit, more likely activated it. So now, but I still hurt on the right side, and today's been really rainy, and my knees too. Oh goodness, my knees. Oh, they hurt so bad.
Something about, for me, humidity makes it bad. Back as a kid, like in junior high, I broke my collarbone. And for years, up until my 40s, when the weather changed, I knew it was coming because it ached really bad. But now, when the humidity gets bad, man, every nerve issue I have below the waist just lights up like a mofo. Just lights me up, and it is not a good day, and it sucks. So what are they doing? Even that the MRIs and everything that shows it, are they treating it? Are they offering you at least relief with some kind of meds? Are they stabbing you with acupuncture, or what are they doing?
At first, I did try the injections for the back and the hip. The first hip injection actually worked for 30 days, but that was it. Exactly 30 days. That was it. We tried it the second time, did not work. We tried the back injection, did not work. And he said, no sense beating the horse, basically. And I agree. If it's not going to work, let's not do it. We tried the gabapentin and Lyrica, see if it would work. Only thing that done was, the gabapentin gave him bad headaches, so we did the Lyrica. Only thing that done, now I did give it a fair try. I did 3 months, give it a fair try. Only thing it done was put weight on me.
Mm-hmm. Did it mess with your vision? It gave me blurry vision. Like if I laid down and took like a half-hour nap, which as a pain patient, I admit I do at times, I would wake up and it would take hours for my eyes to clear out. Everything would be blurry. Like I would have, like, to be on like TikTok, I'd have to have like a flashlight or something flashing on it so I could read what people had written and stuff like that, because I couldn't make it out because everything was so blurry.
Well, I know Amaron messed with my eyes because I didn't have to wear glasses until about 2 years ago. So Amaron's the reason I am now in glasses. But I don't know what caused me to have it. Now I have extremely dry eyes. I mean, I can go through regular eye drops in like 2 weeks, a bottle of eye drops, and I got actually prescribed eye drops too. Because I mean, I call it eye boogers, real honestly. Because
we're all adults here.
Well, it's like a film gets across my eyes, and it stops me from being able to read.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to call it. And that's what I told the eye doctor, the specialist, when I went to him, because I was trying to figure out what the crap was. So I don't know where it came from.
Right.
And he can't give me no answer. He didn't give me no answer either. He just told me it was extremely bad dry ice. So I don't know if
Right.
maybe it came from Delirica, because I mean it wasn't long after that, but I can't say that 100% or even 75%.
Yeah.
I can't say that, but it did. It did happen.
Or it
Yeah.
was going on during then. Amanda has a question, and I can't pronounce it. Have you ever been tested for Sorgens? Man, I have no idea how to pronounce that. You should know that. I could not pronounce that word. Anyway,
My pellet floor therapist thinks I have fibro, and pain management does not want to say that, but they gave me a diagnosis of chronic pain syndrome, which I don't know what's much difference.
so
Oh, and
sugar.
to answer your question, yes, I am on pain medicines. Ones that right now it's just 4 perks a day, and it'll be changed on the 29th when I pick it up to extended, and then to extend it into regular release.
Okay. All right. So at least they're doing something to address. They're at least throwing a bone at it, right? I mean, they're not just totally ignoring it, which a lot of us have to deal with, because a lot of docs won't, especially interventionists, they won't even consider an opioid as a possible treatment.
One thing I appreciate is Dr. Kerfoot kept very good records. So when he did retire, and I did need a pain management, when I went for that first interview, I told you, I said no to, because that one was just too much, and no, and I had others lined up. He took Dr. Kerfoot's top 10 worst ones, and he said like top 5, but I was the last one he took.
That's what they took, right?
And my records speak for themselves. And that was like 20 years worth of records, honestly. Actually.
Well, at least he took good records, but the thing is, at least somebody's acknowledging that they're good records. I've had my records acknowledged as being good, and then the guy literally took them to the bathroom and wiped his butt with them because he ignored every single thing that was in it. And at least people now are respecting it. I want to touch on a comment from Melissa here, where Melissa said, "I have RA and fibro, and the doc told me he will not give me pain meds for fibro because it's made up." I had a similar experience with the Dr. Israel Pena in Granbury, Texas, who I just fired because he's a crappy doctor for pain. He, after a visit, as he's walking out of the exam room, he said, "I think I'm just going to diagnose you with fibromyalgia because you have pain everywhere, and we don't treat fibro with opioids." And that was the last words he said as he walked out, because he was so adamant about me not being on any kind of pain meds like that at all. So and I'm not trying to get off topic because Dixie, your story is so incredible. But honestly, I just want to say this real quick. I think a lot of bad doctors look for any excuse they can find to not treat. I honestly feel that.
Well, I
And,
understand what she's saying, because a lot of doctors think IC is in people's head. And I mean, more women have it than men, but men also get it. And children get it. Animals get it. I mean, but I understand that. And it's such BS for people to tell somebody that their pain is in their head. Find the root cause, treat it, quit acting like it's in somebody's head.
yeah, exactly. And again, that just backs up what I was saying. They want to find any excuse they can to, not treat, unless it's specific things that they truly feel is is the answer for every pain patient. Stimulators,
Uh-uh.
pain pumps, and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
I mean, I'm glad when it does help somebody, but I've also seen the damage one of them things can do to somebody too. And that's why I try to, when I say inner stem, I try to make sure people understand it's not the nerve stimulator, it's something completely different than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so there's so much looking back on your story. I'm going to ask you a question that I've only asked one other person that's been brave enough to come on Invisible No More, because we all can relate to the gaslighting, to doctors not treating, to being invisible, to people not understanding, people basically saying you're fine because you look fine. We can all relate to that. And we
Okay.
can also all relate to what true ungodly pain feels like, and how we can't do laundry or stand and cook dinner for our family or go to a park or a ball game with our kids because we hurt that much. Give me one thing, even if it's just a little thing. What's something positive that you've experienced or you learned about yourself because of all this?
I'm strong. I can do it on my own. I do have a strong willpower. I can get things done. It might take me a little longer, but I'm going to find a way to get it done, no matter what it is.
And that's beautiful. Honestly, please believe me when I tell you this, I hate that it took all of this to learn that. But there's people out there that don't have the problems that you've had, that are strong people, but they can't recognize it, and they don't let themselves be strong, or they aren't strong. And that is a beautiful thing. And I think it's a common thread with a lot of us invisible people, is that we find ways to get things done. We do, because we don't have any other choice, right?
That's right.
We don't have another choice. And I wear that as kind of a badge of honor at times. At times, though, it pisses me off and it gets me upset and depressed. But in the end, we are strong. You are strong. 100 some odd surgeries for one person. I couldn't imagine it. Being taken from fentanyl patches and then oxy as well, to be cut off. And then here you are tonight being able to share your story like you are.
And I never went to the streets, not one time.
You know, um, you know, Miss Nicole, right? We don't really have another choice. We just do it. We just do. It's because who we are. And like I said, you're my hero. All y'all are my heroes. All y'all are. So my husband heard that cake and was like, "How do you feel?" Yeah, I laughed. Amanda, raised two babies while in excruciating intractable pain. We just do what we have to do. That's it. That's it. And it goes back to what we just talked about a little bit ago. We don't ask for meds so we can go climb Mount Everest, right? We ask for help just to take care of the kids, take care of the littles.
Exactly.
And that's it. And I'm amazed sitting here. You had surgery at 8 weeks. I talked to somebody today. They had surgery at 5 days. They were 5 days old and they had surgery. And
it was
it's
5
just,
hours.
Pardon me?
5 hours.
Oh yeah, it was 5 hours, not 5 days, 5 hours. That's right. And how people in our community that are invisible, it breaks my heart because we are so strong. and we find ways to get stuff done. You know, you're right. 7 grands that deserve their Mimo. That's it. Well, their Mimo rocks. If they don't believe you when you tell them that you rock, tell them to call me because I'll back
That's
that
right.
stuff up. You
I got
know,
8. You're right. You rock.
you know, and you know, once they get older and they understand what you're going through, and they'll think about it, they'll be like, she was having to live through this, and she still did X, Y, Z for me or with me,
That's right.
and it's going to teach those kids a valuable lesson. You know. Again, I hate the fact that if we have to be hurting physically and emotionally and mentally so bad to learn this stuff. But the fact that you can recognize how strong you are now, that's awesome. I'm proud of you. That's really, really huge. That is, you know, that is. So, well, if anybody's got questions, start throwing them in here. Because now's a good time.
This thing says like 99 plus new messages and it didn't roll up for me.
It paused for you. You gotta be careful. I'll pause it up to hold one message and then I'll forget and then I'll look down and it'll say like 30 that I've got 30 new ones. And it's because it's one of the things I love about this. You know, we got like, you did make it. Thank you for making it. We got 30 people in here but we'll have like, I'll get notifications from TikTok after a live that we hit certain levels for having the most messages in a live, you know,
oh, wow.
Because it's crazy because of the conversations that take place in the comment section alone.
Oh, that's so sweet, crying.
So
my 4-year-old grandson still holds my hand and calls me up. That is so sweet.
that is it, you know. I have to make it even the chaos of today. I need your fam. That's right, you know, and I'm always shocked that this crazy, stupid app that was started out because kids were twerking on it has brought together this community of people to where we know we're not alone anymore.
It's got us older folks took it over and started making something good out of it.
I think so. And I'm glad because I don't do the Book of Faces anymore. I've sworn off Book of Faces. Last October is about the last time I purposely logged on to Facebook. Just can't do the negativity and can't do it. This
That's I have unsubscribed, unfollowed so many other things that was on mine. Tried just to keep it positive and just try to stay to my just one group just to help. And most time now I'm just over here unless I get a message from over there that needs my attention.
Yep. So Kim, you see a new pain management doc next week. You're in our thoughts. Are you ready? When do you see that pain doc? Because on Tuesday, Amanda, a chronic pain warrior for you, when we do our live on Tuesday, we're going to start, that's one of our topics is questions and things to be prepared going to see your doc, or as well as going to a new pain doc, questions and ideas and things to go to discuss before you go in there. Whether it's an existing doctor or primary care or an existing pain or a new primary care or a new pain doc, what are things to look for? What are things to prepare yourself to ask them, to tell them, all that kind of stuff. We're going to be talking about that Tuesday night, 9:00 Central Time. And I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a good live. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to steal your time, Dixie. I'm just throwing that out there because that was one of the things that was mentioned. So, Paige, did my eyesight ever get better? Yes, it did. I think it was you asked about, did anybody have experiences with Lyrica? I did Lyrica. He had me at like 100 milligrams a day for a month, and then he jumped me to 600 a day. And I did that for 2.5, 3 weeks, and it didn't. This is just me talking. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not. Can we get that established? When he bumped me up, it had no effect, no positive impact at all. I had the blurred vision, and I was gaining weight. And so I'm like, I'm going to stop it. It ain't doing nothing. I'm not going to put it in my body, because he didn't tell me the side effects of going cold turkey off of that stuff. For 30 days, I went through some of the most severe withdrawals of my life, because I quit that stuff cold turkey. And when I confronted him about it at my next visit, he's like, "Oh no, you can't do that. That's dangerous." I'm like, "Well, no shit, Sherlock. You didn't tell me that. That's why I didn't know." He's like, "Well, let's put you back on it so you'll feel better." I'm like, "I got 30 days in, brother. Hey, the worst is over, you know." But it works for some people. So if it works, God bless you, man. I'll tell. Same thing with nerve stimulators or pain pumps or whatever. If it's working for you, I encourage it. I do, because I want everybody to be just a little bit better, just be a little bit better. So, but just be careful. If you just don't do that. Don't cold turkey if you decide that's not good for you. I'm just going to leave it at that. And message me, and I'll give you my phone number. We can talk about it more in detail. So,
please look up the side effects of that, and there is many lawsuits on that.
yeah. So just be careful. 600 didn't help me. It may help others, but it didn't help me. I don't want to get into specific meds and stuff like that, because I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to piss off the gods of TikTok any more than I already have.
We don't want to do that. Just be careful.
Yeah.
It works for some for an adjunct,
Yeah. So that's good stuff, and it worked. Gabapentin works good for one of our dogs. He's on, I have to ask Valerie, I think 200 milligrams a day, so it's working fine. But he's also on 8 bars, 2 full Xanax a day too. So maybe it's a Xanax. Maybe anything would help with the Xanax. That much Xanax that he's on. He only weighs 60 pounds. That's a lot of Xanax for a 60-pound dog. So I agree with you, Amanda. For me personally, nothing has helped my nerve pain besides opioids. It's just what there is to it. And I'm nervous about the status with opioids, where it's going to be in 10 years. Maybe they'll invent something that'll work better, maybe, So, yeah. So, Dixie, did we leave anything out that you wanted to get covered tonight, that you needed to get off your chest or share or get out there?
I think that just about covers it that I can think of, but I'd like to thank y'all because of y'all. I had that talk with my doctor last week when I went in about my medication not lasting long enough, and that's when she decided, because I told her I didn't want to get nobody in trouble, because I understood that was a limit their office had. They have rules. They set their limits, not just the DEA. And I didn't want nobody to go over that limit. It's just that my medicine wasn't lasting long enough. It works. It just didn't last long enough.
Right.
I just wanted to, could we try a extended release? And y'all kind of gave me the courage to ask for that, ask that question. And because I asked, the PA got done, and I even got the letter from the insurance company today saying it was approved. It's not on the formulary, and it said I may have to pay a little extra when I go get it, but it's approved.
That's awesome to hear, and this community has emboldened me to ask doctors. Well, I knew I needed to fire Dr. Israel Pena, Granbury, Texas, because he was a shitty doctor for me for a long time. And y'all, I am saying his name on purpose, and I'm going to continue to say his name. And I apologize that it gets annoying, but anyway. But this is the group that gave me just gave me the balls to do it. And a lot of y'all know Clayton. Clayton was a great man, and he helped so many of us. And he reached out to me and helped me with different docs and different primary care docs. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without this group, without this community that's here on TikTok. And when I tell everybody that will listen to me that I do all of these lives, and I'm going to spend all these hours uploading the lives and answer all the messages and stuff because I need to pay this community back. It's the same thing that went on with you, right? You finally were like, you know what? I'm just going to just be polite and say, hey, can we try something? And that's what being around people where we can be ourselves helps us to do. And it may not always work. And it might not work several times in a row, but eventually maybe it will, and I want this to be a safe place to encourage people to do this kind of stuff, because this is what the community did for me, because it's that important. We're that important. And so, all right, that's my soapbox.
I have learned if you talk to them but make them believe they're the ones making the decisions, more or less, like,
yeah,
you kind of play dumb but kind of put the idea in their heads, you're more likely to get what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so
it.
In other words, you play in the system basically, but I think you get what I'm saying there.
Yeah, it's like dealing with a kid, like a 2-year-old. You have to, or like my dogs. I have to make my dogs think it's their idea to go inside or go outside to pee, and to get them to do it. And but it works, and if we have to do that, we have to do that. Because, like I said, that Robin Williams quote, nobody knows our bodies are better than we do. Dr. Pena told me that when I told him that the meds he had me on weren't nearly enough, or that I had new pain, or that I was still hurting, he's like, well, I am managing your pain correctly, so I don't know what's wrong with you. Right? Mm-hmm. And he said it again when I told him that the methadone wasn't lasting more than an hour to an hour and a half. He's like, well, I'm managing you right, so I don't know what your problem is. And
the problem is, yeah,
got to play the game. And Viking, you're right. I approach life in several different ways, and one of them is you got to know the rules to play the game. And like when we did the outreach in Vegas, we permanently we knew the laws and we knew the ordinances, and we stayed in that gray area 99% of the time. What we did, was it illegal? Was it legal? Nobody could say it wasn't, but it was right there in the boundary line, or maybe in crossover sometimes. You're right, Nicole. Had Dr. Pena ordered that DNA test to see if my body's metabolizing stuff, we'd have found out. We'd have known. Texas girl, the DNA test. I called them last Monday, and they said it was still going to be 3 to 6 weeks before we get the results. So, not yet. But trust me, as soon as I get the results, I'll get a photocopy of the results and I'll share it with it. And I'm still waiting on the bill because I haven't gotten a bill saying that I owe extra for it yet, which is kind of scary. So I don't know. I can't get blood from a turnip. I mean, if I ain't got it, you ain't getting it. That's just as simple as that. So
that reminds me of a funny story. I'm actually already getting the bill for my surgery, even though I hadn't had the surgery yet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because my co-payment is supposed to be $395, and I'm actually already getting the bill for it. The surgery's on the 30th, but the due date is July the 31st, and I'm like, how can you bill me for a surgery that I haven't even had yet?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like it's crazy. I got a bill from the hospital here I got an email saying that I had a new thing in my portal, so I checked it. It was a bill from 2017 for $27, and that it was a notification that was going to collections.
I've actually had a bill one time for 27 cents. It cost them more to print it out and to stamp.
Yeah. That's, yeah, it's, we can go to, that'll be another Tuesday Night Live. We'll do hospital billing horror stories, because I know everybody in this group has some of those too,
I think the reason they're trying to do this, but it's not legal for them to do that, is because now I think they have to give you a year to pay it because they can't put it on your credit. I think that's why.
Yeah, it could be,
But they can't get by with that because my surgery's not till July 30th. So
it's nuts that you're to get the bill for it, though.
yeah, and that was even before my post-op. I mean, even before I had my post-op. That don't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So, all right, y'all. Any more questions, or are we all going to get our nighttime meds on time tonight?
Yeah, that's what my husband's coming out here where I can get the safe open.
Yeah, there you go. My bill for a spinal fusion was $150. Amanda, no, there was a long time that I had a PO box when I lived in Elgin, Texas. That I had to give them. The PO box had to give them my actual physical address. I owed so many bills that the mailman brought a box from the post office and dropped it at my house because I hadn't been to the PO box for that long. So
Dang.
I know that anxiety. I know that anxiety. So, but yeah. So, all right, kiddos. I got some administrative stuff. If I can do it real quick, I am going to start uploading the lives. It'll probably be to YouTube as well as Spotify. I'm going to try to start them next week. I may go oldest first. The only thing that may change about that is I've got some people who are incredible. They actually subscribe to my page, to me. And that is a huge thing for me, for people to do that. And I need to say thank you in a way. So I may do the latest live subscribers only for the first week. And please don't be mad at me for doing that, but I need to say thank you to them. And after the first 7 days, it'll be open for everybody. So I just want to say thank you to folks that do that, and maybe incentivize. Chronically, give me a shout, Chronically Divine. We'll talk about it. Subscribing is not necessary because everybody knows where the money goes for the most part. That goes to the local animal shelter because honestly, y'all, those pups that get dropped there, they're invisible just like us, and I want them to know they're loved too. I know, Paige. I'm not pressing it. I'm just saying that's just something I may be doing, and everything I do is for free. Everybody will get the same thing. Trust me, because I have you guys. You guys are amazing, and so don't be mad at me. But I need to do something. I don't know really what it is yet. That was just an idea. So I got that. We're going to be putting those online for folks. I talked with Amanda, who was here earlier. I don't know if she's still here. We are going to be partnered up regularly on Tuesday nights, which is a good thing. Tuesday nights are turning into really something really cool for us too. I love Tuesdays. I love Thursdays. Tomorrow, Valerie will be on my page live at 7 p.m. Central with her Anderson Toil because she had a lot of her followers that couldn't catch it the first time she talked about it. And she only has a couple hundred followers. So if you can maybe follow Valerie's page and give her some love and share her stuff so she can get to 1,000, so we can have her give her lives on her page instead of mine. That way she'll get the love that way. So I think that's about all I have, So what's my YouTube name? I don't have one yet. It's probably going to be either, Valerie is much prettier than me. It's probably going to be Invisible No More or some kind of function of that. I just did start an Instagram page. It said that one's called We're Invisible No More is the Instagram. If you search that, my email is keithcpp@gmail.com. And so I would say that YouTube as well as anything on Spotify will be some form of Invisible No More. So that'll be it. But I'll be uploading the Tuesday lives with Amanda. So that'll be there too. So any other questions for Miss Dixie, who was brave enough to come out tonight to hang with the little pup? Is the pup going to get treats when you go inside? Tell me your pup's going to get treats when you go inside.
Of course.
All right. Okay. Because that face says they need treats. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. And you guys are the best. And every time I do a live, everybody needs to know that this is the biggest thrills for me for an hour or so, twice a week. I know, I'm almost done talking. For an hour or so, twice a week, the pain pretty much goes away. And that's because of all you guys and your love and your support. So all right, y'all. If you ain't got nothing, I'm going to go med up. And Dixie, thank you again. You've been awesome. Thank you for all the help you give me in other ways. I appreciate it. And if you guys have questions, just send me a message and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
If you got any questions for me, send me a PM. And thanks everybody for joining.
Yeah,
I loved it tonight. Thank you all.
All right. Y'all be safe. See you next time. See ya. Bye.
Bye.